If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you can't tell me that this offseason doesn't have you nervous. While you've grown tired of the A.J. Brown trade talks, the ever so great Howie Roseman has alluded to the fact that Philly may not be major players in free agency. Instead, he wants to focus on making big splashes in house, which involves backing up the Brinks truck for this key defensive player. Jaelan Phillips is scheduled to be a free agent and probably one of the highly coveted free agents of this offseason. I am determined to see the Eagles re-sign him. It just makes all the sense in the world. He's a Vic Fangio guy. He had a huge impact on his defense. The moment he landed, he was just all energy in Philadelphia. And it's like you rarely see that in these kind of in-season trades. Phillips was just like he just fit like a glove. This move to me is it's a must. I know they could trade for a veteran. I know people are obsessed with Max Crosby. This feels like it has to happen.
I agree. I think he is probably their top target. Howie Roseman said earlier today at the NFL Combine how well he played in Vic Fangio's defense, how great he was when he came over to the Eagles from Miami. Ed Kratz had a great quote. Ed writes for Sports Illustrated, but he had a great quote from Howie Roseman when he spoke to the Philadelphia media last week leading up to the Combine. And Roseman compared the trade for Phillips to the trade with Golden Tate a few years ago. And Roseman says, I say it a lot of time, if you tell me that I can trade a third round pick to win a playoff game, I'll do that every day of the week, every day of the week. So that's exactly what he did. And it almost got him a playoff win. Now, I think Phillips wants to be an Eagle. If you hear how he spoke at the end of the season, if you talk to him in the locker room, David and I know, had chatted with him a bunch of times. He seemed very happy, very comfortable with the guys in the locker room. He felt like Philadelphia could be a future home for him and his family. They're expecting a baby here soon. So I do think that Phillips is the marquee trade or signing acquisition for the Eagles. I mean, if you look at what the defense did prior to the arrival of Jaelan Phillips, the Eagles were 14th in pressure rate, 25th in sacks. When Phillips joined the team, the Eagles were 6th in pressure rate and 5th in sacks. So clearly he was a difference maker. I don't think the Eagles will use the franchise tag on any of their free agents. That's just something that they don't really do. I know that he's inside the top 3, top 5 on a lot of different NFL free agent rankings. And if they were to slap a franchise tag on him, you're looking at a 1-year deal at, anywhere from $28 million. Yeah, 23 to $28 million. So Howie Roseman also said at the Combine today that he thinks for them, it's probably going to be hard to do in terms of slapping together a couple of 1-year deals. He said that they're trying to keep some of these guys together, and he thinks the best way to do that is with extensions and long-term deals. So I do think Jaelan Phillips is probably on top of Howie Roseman's to-do list, but I do think Roseman knows and Jaelan Phillips knows and the whole league knows that he probably will have one of the most expensive markets out there because of the way he played in Philadelphia. And I just don't know if the Eagles will ultimately meet that price when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. He is definitely the priority, and Corey nailed it. He fits the Eagles' pass rush identity. He's long, explosive, he's technically advanced, and he wins with his first step acceleration. And he's not just a speed guy, he's also a power guy. And they don't have anybody else like that on this roster. He's a complete rusher who can win on third down, and he holds up on the early downs. And what I was saying about what Corey nailed, he's not just a sack artist, he's a pressure generator. And that is a big deal because sacks fluctuate. And a lot of times they're as much as a quarterback stat as they are, an edge rushing stat. They hold the ball too long, whatever. Pressure rates stay consistent. And he consistently affects the quarterback even when the box score with the sack doesn't show it. He forces early throws. He converts speed to power. And he just always, when you watch the tape, he's walking tackles just right back into quarterbacks, man. I mean, he was a difference maker. The second he arrived, the entire defense just completely flipped the page. It was almost as dramatic as last year when Cooper DeJean stepped onto the field in week 6. It was, it was that big of a difference. I think they know that. Like Corey said, he definitely loved Philadelphia. He wants to stay. But the only negative thing I could say is that after the wild card loss, he was one of the guys I went up to, and he said, I would love to stay in Philadelphia, but I also have to take care of my family, which is code for money. That was a little, concerning probably, and that also shows you how cognizant he is that he was already playing the game. The second that loss happened, he's already thinking about his contract and leaving little comments there for the media to get back to Howie as far as I'd like to be here, but I also want I want a huge payday as well. So I do think they'll figure it out. They'll just add dummy years or whatever, but I would put him likelihood of staying like at 75%. I would be pretty surprised if he left.
It feels like this would be a move that Howie would kind of beat himself up about if he does lose Jaelan Phillips, just because Jaelan Phillips was a difference maker the moment he arrived. You saw Jalen Hutton come into his own. You saw Nolan Smith come into his own. Like, the guys got comfortable with knowing that Jaelan Phillips was on the other side doing what he does best. And it led to, like Corey alluded to, it led to fumbles, strip sacks. It led to more pressure on the quarterback. And he was just in the backfield all the time. But the main thing was that Howie, throughout the years, has built strongly within the trenches. And I don't want to say that they've gone away from that after drafting Deion Davis, Jalen Carter, Jalen Hutton, Nolan Smith. But it seems like we haven't had that true difference maker since Hassan Reddick was here. Because Hassan Reddick was a game wrecker. And he showed that, during their run to the Super Bowl, although they lost to the Chiefs in the end. He was a huge game wrecker. He just didn't have the right attitude and mindset to stay in Philadelphia. But Jaelan Phillips is he's literally that default creative player that's built for this city, that's built for this team, and built for this regime right now. If Howie Roseman is going to spend money in this offseason and big money, my focal point would be extend the guys that we currently have, like a Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and then move some money to Jaelan Phillips, because he's a must resign. Like, this kid has to stay here one way or another. Flip.